It started on a quiet Thursday afternoon when I matched with a guy named Thorin on Tinder. I didn't respond to his first message right away. I never do. But when he followed up with a second, more enthusiastic note, I gave him a chance. We started chatting, and within minutes he was suggesting we meet that very evening. "Let's go to the movies," he said. "I really want to see you." It felt a little fast, but he was so charming and persistent that I agreed. He even sent the showtime and told me he'd already bought the tickets. We kept messaging throughout the day, building up this idea of an instant connection. A few hours before the movie, Thorin texted me saying his car was in the shop and he'd need to Uber. Then he slipped in, rather casually, "It would really mean a lot if you picked me up." That should have been a red flag, but I was already emotionally committed, so I politely declined and told him to take the Uber instead. He agreed. We arrived at the theater early to have some time to talk before the film. I parked in a well-lit area near the entrance, surrounded by other cars and people just in case. When Thorin got into my car, he was all smiles and seemed relaxed. I felt a little more at ease, until I remembered the cold sore on my lip. It was something I had to disclose, especially if the date went in a romantic direction. So nervously I told him. I said he could leave if that changed anything. He laughed it off and said, "No big deal. I just got over one myself." Then, without hesitation, he leaned in to kiss me. I was stunned. We had known each other for less than an hour. His hands started to wander, and I instinctively pulled away, trying to shift the conversation. That's when things got weird. I asked casually about his car, trying to steer the vibe back to neutral. That's when he confessed that it wasn't just in the shop. He had lost his license after a DUI on the 4th of July. I sat in quiet disbelief. The man had lied to me just to get me to pick him up. The finance guy act started to unravel quickly. He kept trying to kiss me. Then he took my hand and tried to move it to a place I didn't want it to go. I pulled back completely and told him, firmly but politely, that I wasn't there for that. His entire demeanor shifted. The charming, eager personality vanished. He became cold, dismissive, and irritated. "That's what I came here for," he said bluntly. I was stunned. Then, as if that wasn't enough, he started urging me to move my car to the back of the theater, where it was completely dark and isolated. I refused. When I said no again, he accused me of leading him on. "You agreed to go on a date. You knew what this was," he muttered. Trying to keep the situation from escalating, I played along just enough to keep him calm. I didn't want to see what might happen if I pushed him too far. He joked that he could kill me and steal my car. I laughed nervously, but I knew in my gut this wasn't a joke. Something was really off. Eventually, Thorin asked if I would at least wait with him for his Uber. I agreed, still trying to keep things peaceful. When the car arrived, he got out and left. I locked my doors, drove home, and cried the entire way. I was shaken, scared, and furious at myself for ignoring the early signs. Later that night, I actually checked my car for a tracker. That's how paranoid I felt. I still can't believe how close this came to becoming something far worse. I'm just grateful I parked in a visible area, that I trusted my instincts when I did, and that I got out of there safely. Needless to say, I deleted Tinder the next morning, and I don't see myself re-downloading it anytime soon. I met Elliot on Hinge. He had this kind of chaotic charm that made you feel like nothing would ever be boring around him. His bio read like a manifesto for spontaneous living, and the photos were a mix of rooftop parties, Polaroid selfies, and shirtless gym mirror shots. Normally, that last one would make me swipe left, but I was in a mood. A why not kind of mood. He messaged me first. "Birthday pregame at my Airbnb this Saturday. Bring your friend. Vibes only." It was forward, but something about the confidence made me pause. I sent a screenshot to my best friend, Zafira. She replied in all caps, "Let's go. You never say yes to anything." So I said yes. Saturday evening, we pulled up to the Airbnb, a narrow 3-story townhouse in a semi-gentrified neighborhood on the edge of Atlanta. It was the kind of place rented by people who wanted to feel expensive without paying for it. Elian had told us to arrive at 8 p.m. to pregame with the crew, before going to a club called Havana. As we walked up the stairs, Zafira adjusted her curls in the reflection of the glass door. "Let's just have fun," she said. I smiled, but something in my gut nodded quietly. I brushed it off. The moment we stepped inside, the room felt off. There were 3 other girls in the living room, doing their makeup, but they barely looked up. I approached with a smile, said, "Hi, I'm Narelle. Nice to meet you guys." One of them made a half nod without eye contact. The others just blinked. I whispered to Zafira, "Okay, I see reception." Elian appeared at the top of the stairs. "Hey, you made it." He came down, pulled me into a quick hug, then did the same to Zafira. "I'm really sorry about the vibe in here. It's been weird all night. Come up to the roof. It's better up there." We followed him to the rooftop, which had string lights, 2 folding chairs, and a Bluetooth speaker playing a lo-fi mix. The view was decent, mostly rooftops and distant skyline, but the cold hit fast. We wrapped our jackets tighter. Elian started venting. "It's my birthday, and these girls are acting like I ruined their lives. I got the Airbnb, planned everything, and they still don't want to go where I want. Like it's my night." He looked genuinely frustrated. Zafira and I exchanged a look. She gave him a reassuring smile. "Hey, forget them. Hang with us. We're down to celebrate." That seemed to lift his spirits. He poured us drinks from a bottle of Casamigos, and we toasted to new friends and better energy. For a moment, it almost felt like it could be a good night. But as the night unfolded, I started noticing subtle shifts. Elian kept turning to Zafira more than me, asking her questions, complimenting her earrings, laughing at everything she said. I wasn't jealous, more detached. I had come with 0 expectations, but I couldn't ignore the feeling of being slowly edged out of my own plans. His friend, a quiet guy named Jarek, arrived around 9:30 and called the Uber to Havana. We all piled in. That's when I realized something was wrong. I didn't have my purse. I dug through my coat pockets, checked the floor. Nothing. I turned to Jarek. "Hey, you called the Uber, right? I think I left my purse in there. Can you message the driver?" He shrugged. "Probably left it upstairs or on the roof. I'll check later." "Don't stress it." I didn't want to ruin the night, or Elian's birthday, so I let it go. Told myself it was probably just inside. I'd check after we got back. Havana was packed. Loud, dark, neon lights flickering over the dance floor. We danced, we drank. Elian stayed glued to Zafira. I stayed in my own little orbit, sipping watered-down vodka cranberries and texting myself reminders to check the rooftop later. Around 1:30 a.m., we headed back to the Airbnb. That's when the night truly turned. As we walked in, Elian turned around with a finger to his lips. "Shh. Be quiet. The girls are sleeping. No noise." I thought he was joking. He wasn't. He herded us up to the rooftop again, despite the cold. "We can't be loud. Seriously. Just stay up here for a bit." Zafira and I looked at each other. "It's freezing," she whispered. After 15 minutes of shivering, Elian finally said, "Okay, come downstairs. But not to the kitchen. Just come to my room." He led us down 1 flight of stairs, opened his bedroom door, and motioned for us to walk in. Then he closed the door behind us and locked it. The air went still. I didn't panic, but I felt something shift in my chest. I turned to him. "Hey, I still need to find my purse. Can I check the rooftop or the kitchen?" He didn't even hesitate. No, I repeated, confused. He shook his head. "Nah, it's late. Just look tomorrow. My purse has my house keys, my car keys, everything. I can't get home without it. You probably just left it upstairs. Chill. It'll turn up." I turned to Jarek. "Did you hear from the Uber driver?" He shrugged. "Haven't heard anything." I felt the panic start to rise. I wasn't trying to be dramatic, but I needed that bag. "Please, just let me go check." Elian's expression hardened. "You're making this a thing. It's not that serious." Zafira was silent on the bed. She didn't say anything, didn't back me up. I felt like I was going crazy, like maybe I was overreacting. But my gut said no. "You are not safe here. Can I use the bathroom?" I asked, my voice tight. There was one attached to the room. I went in, locked the door, and called Corey, my son's father. He picked up on the second ring. "Corey," I whispered, crying. "I'm locked in this room. I lost my purse. I can't get home. They won't let me leave." "Where are you?" he asked, instantly alert. "Near downtown. I'll send the address. Please come." Suddenly, the bathroom door burst open. Zafira had come in, glaring. "We can hear you talking asterisk about us," she snapped. I stared at her. "You're not helping me. I had to call someone." She shook her head and walked out, muttering. I stayed in the bathroom until she left, then came out. Elian was sitting on the bed, arms crossed. "You're making everyone uncomfortable. I just want to find my bag. You're being dramatic." Eventually, Zafira called me. "I got an Uber. Let's go." I looked at her name on my phone. My hands shook. "No. I called Corey. I'm not going with you. She hung up. I was trapped in the room with Elian. I stood my ground. Give me the Uber driver's info. I'll call myself. He exploded. Why are you blaming me? I didn't take your bag. I'm not blaming. I'm asking for help. You're acting crazy. Finally, he opened the door. You need to go. I walked down the stairs. Another guy appeared, one I hadn't seen all night. He pointed to the door. You need to leave. I stood on the sidewalk, crying into the phone as Corey stayed with me the whole time. I called the non-emergency police line. Officers came, knocked on the door, and said, if they don't answer, there's nothing we can do. They left. Corey arrived an hour later. He hugged me tight, told me it would be okay. Drove me to my sister's house where I crashed on her couch, keys still missing, heart bruised. The next day, I hired a locksmith. Corey helped me get into my apartment and rekeyed my locks. By evening, I got a text from Elian. Good news. Uber driver has your purse. I paid him $80 to get it back. You can come pick it up. No apology. Just a transactional message. I replied that I'd come in the morning. When I arrived, he handed me the purse like it was charity. See? I did my good deed. There was this phase I went through, what I now refer to as my romantic nihilism arc. I was lonely, disillusioned, and deep in the trenches of dating apps. At the time, it felt harmless. Swipe, match, entertain a nonsense conversation, maybe meet up if the boredom outweighed the red flags. That's how I ended up on Bumble talking to a guy named Riven. Riven wasn't my usual type. His pictures were grainy, his bio was vague, and he had a slightly manic texting style. But I was in a slump, and his messages were at least consistent. He asked me to hang out literally within hours of matching. I declined. The next day he asked again. I was bored. I was lonely. I said yes. We hadn't talked about anything meaningful. He didn't know my favorite color or what I did for work. All he knew was my age and the neighborhood I lived in. I gave him my address after he insisted on picking me up. He lived about 40 minutes away, so I expected a heads up before he left. But 5 p.m. came and went. Then 5:30. Then 6 o'clock. No message. No, I'm on my way. Not even a, hey, sorry, running late. I texted him. Are you still coming? No response. By 6:45, I had accepted that I'd been stood up. I was embarrassed but not devastated. This was Bumble, after all, not a sacred covenant. I took off my makeup, threw on a hoodie, and started scrolling through TikTok. Then at 7:10 he texted. Yo, my bad. My mom was tripping about me taking the car. I'm leaving now. I blinked. Your mom? He was 25. Still, I was in that do-it-for-the-plot mindset. So I replied, okay, what's your ETA? About 25 minutes, he said. Cool. Whatever. I threw on mascara again and waited. When he finally arrived, I heard his car before I saw it. He pulled up blasting Juice WRLD at full volume. Not just loud, rattling the trunk loud. I opened the passenger door, and he turned the music down just enough to say yo, then cranked it back up. We started driving. No plan. No destination. I shouted over the music. Where are we going? He shrugged. I dunno. You hungry? Yeah, I said, trying to be polite. I could go for a McChicken. So that's where we went, McDonald's. I thought we'd hit the drive-thru, but he parked and said, let's go in. That's when it hit me. He probably didn't want to pay. And I was right. He waited behind me in line, let me order first, and didn't even pretend to offer. I paid for myself. He ordered a single McChicken and a small Sprite. We sat down at a booth, and he immediately pulled out his phone. The screen lit up with rapid notifications. He was texting someone furiously. His whole vibe was aggressive. He wasn't eating. He wasn't talking to me. He was typing with the kind of intensity usually reserved for fight night. I tried to ignore it. Everything okay? I asked. He sighed. My mom's being a bitch. She didn't want me to take the car. She's always like this. I nodded slowly. Want to pull over and text her so we're not driving distracted? He glared. We're almost there. Chill. We ate in silence. If I hadn't been so hungry, I'd have left then. When we were done, I stood up, thinking we'd leave. But he said, want to just chill here for a minute? I hesitated. Sure. We sat in the car. He turned the music back up and continued texting. I was now completely disinterested. This wasn't a date. It was babysitting a grown man with unresolved family issues and a fast food budget. Then suddenly, another car pulled into the lot like it was being chased. It swerved into the space next to us, tires screeching. A woman jumped out, marched to my side of the car, and started banging on the window. "You got another bitch in here? Are you ing kidding me right now?" I froze. Riven groaned. She yanked open the passenger door. "Who are you?" I raised my hands. "I literally don't know what's going on. I just met this man." She looked at me, eyes flickering with calculation. Then she turned to him. "You're texting me all this crap about being with some bad bitch, and this is who you're talking about?" I blinked. "Excuse me?" He shrugged. "I didn't say that." I turned to her. "You want to see the texts? I've literally been texting my friends about how awful this is. I didn't even want to come." She paused. "Show me." So I did. I showed her our dry, awkward Bumble convo. Then I showed her my text to my best friend. "This dude is insane. I think he's texting his ex. I'm at McDonald's. Save me." She burst out laughing. "You really thought this would make me jealous?" she said to him. "He looked like a kid caught stealing candy." "I never said that." She rolled her eyes. "You're pathetic." I stepped out of the car. "Honestly, I'm gonna go." Then she did something unexpected. "Want a ride home?" I blinked. "Wait, seriously?" "Yeah," she said. "You don't deserve this. Let's go." I got into her car. As we pulled away, she told me the whole story. She and Riven had dated for over a year. He cheated on her more than once. She left him. He begged for another chance. She gave him one. Then she found out he had tried to flirt with a 7th grader on Instagram. That was the last straw. She blocked him. But he kept reaching out from fake numbers. That night, he had texted her. "I'm with someone new. She's better than you. We're at McDonald's. She's obsessed with me." What he didn't know was that she had a tracking app still active from their relationship. That's how she found us. We laughed the whole ride home. It was the weirdest, most absurd turn of events. I never got her name, but she dropped me off safely and didn't ask for anything in return. Riven, of course, ghosted me. I deleted Bumble that night. Not because I gave up on dating, but because I realized I had been tolerating too much nonsense for the sake of the story. It wasn't worth it. Not the $8 McDonald's meal. Not the juice world. Not the fake jealousy scheme. I don't know if Riven ever learned a lesson. But I did. Don't go on last-minute meetups with men who live with their mothers and use you as a pawn in their broken relationships. I deserved better. And from now on, I'd demand it. I wasn't expecting a fairy tale. I just wanted to smoke a little, flirt a little, maybe get something to eat and not pay for it. That's it. That's all I really wanted. But what I got instead was a terrifying, paranoia-fueled night that had me questioning my entire sense of safety, trust, and judgment. And I had to learn real quick that just because someone seems chill doesn't mean they won't drive you into a horror movie set. I was 21 in college, not new to men but definitely new to dating for real. Not the we hang out in your car and pretend it's romantic kind of dating. I mean real dates. Where you get ready, plan outfits, maybe shave if you feel like being extra, and imagine a cute little night. I hadn't had much experience, especially not in high school. I was invisible back then, which means nobody was exactly training me for the dating world. So I had to learn on the fly, mostly by watching TV, listening to my friends' messy stories, and making a few mistakes of my own. This guy, he seemed okay. Not a red flag at first glance. We had spoken a few times, exchanged memes, talked enough for me to feel like I could trust him to pick me up from campus without it turning into a Law and Order episode. I got ready with my usual mix of excitement and anxiety. Hair laid, edges slick, lashes moderately dramatic. I picked my outfit with care. You know, something that says I'm cute but not trying too hard, which, ironically, takes the most effort. I even spritzed that vanilla-scented perfume that makes me feel like the main character. I was ready. When he pulled up, it was early evening. The sun was just starting to dip, and the air had that chilly fall bite that makes you wish cardigans were warmer than they are. As soon as I got in the car, I felt the air shift. It wasn't that anything was obviously wrong, but the conversation was dry. He played music, nodded a lot, and didn't really ask questions. Whatever, maybe he was nervous. I tried not to overthink it. We smoked. And I mean we smoked. One thing about me is I can hold my own, but this time, I was smacked. Not giggling and lightheaded, but full-on floating. That kind of high where you start questioning everything around you. Like, is the air in this car weird? Or why do his windshield wipers look suspicious? That kind of high. I was in my head heavy, trying to play it cool while my body was on a slow delay and my mind was running a mile a minute. Things started to feel off when we passed my dorm. I had my location pulled up on maps because I knew I wouldn't be able to rely on memory. I'm bad with directions even when I'm sober, and now I was high and slightly paranoid. So when I saw we were getting close to my place and then drove right past it, I felt my stomach drop. I looked at him like, didn't we just pass my building? He glanced at me, smiled like he had something charming to say, and hit me with, I don't want the night to end yet. Now listen, that might have been cute if we were on our third date, and I actually liked him. But I was high, cold, and hungry. I didn't even know him like that. So now I'm confused, and my high is turning on me. I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's going to swing around. Maybe there's a back road I don't know about. Maybe I'm just tripping. But he keeps driving. The silence is getting heavier. Then he says, I gotta use the bathroom. Again, I say nothing. I'm trying to stay calm, not panic, not sound crazy. I'm thinking maybe he's going to stop at a convenience store or a fast food place. But no, we just keep driving. More turns, less streetlights, fewer cars. My phone is still in my lap with the map open, and the blue dot is getting farther and farther from the dorm. That's when I start internally screaming. Then he says the words that make my skin crawl. Maybe I'll just take you to my place. I didn't say a word. I just stared forward, blinking slowly, trying to process. I didn't want to freak out, but I also wasn't about to be polite and end up on a missing persons flyer. Before I could even respond, he switches it up again and says, Nah, maybe not. I know a spot. A spot? I don't want to go to a spot. I want to go home. But I didn't say that. I just sat there frozen, trying to figure out my next move. A few minutes later, we pull up to this industrial-looking area. It's dark. Like no streetlights, no cars, no people, just this half-finished building that looks like a warehouse, or maybe an abandoned construction site. It's cold, dead silent, and creepy as hell. There are concrete slabs, scattered piles of wood, and trees that looked like they were hiding secrets. It felt like the set of a horror movie. He turns off the car and looks at me like this is normal. My heart is beating so loud I can barely hear him when he says, I just like to come here sometimes. I lost it. Take me home. Take me home now. He looks surprised. What? You good? No, I say, my voice shaking. I'm not good. I'm high, I'm scared, and you just drove me into the middle of nowhere. I think you're going to kill me. Take me home. He tries to laugh it off. You're tripping. You paranoid as hell. Yes, I am. And I should be. This is scary. I don't know you like that, and you brought me to a dark-ass construction site. You're scaring me. Take me home. He shakes his head like I'm the crazy one. Yeah, this ain't gonna work. You too much. Good. Take me home. He finally starts the car and drives me back, but not even all the way to my dorm. He drops me at the academic building on campus, like I'm some Uber pool passenger he's tired of. I had to walk 10 minutes in the cold, still high, heart pounding, looking over my shoulder the entire way. I was convinced someone was following me. I thought there was a tracker in my pants. I was spiraling. When I got to my dorm, I locked the door, sat on my bed, and recorded a video for the group chat. My hair looked like I had just survived a natural disaster. My voice was shaky. I whispered into the camera, Bro, I thought I was gonna die tonight. This man drove me to some abandoned warehouse. I thought it was over for me. The next morning, I woke up still shaken. I laughed about it with my friends, but deep down I felt off. And for some reason, maybe guilt, maybe curiosity, I reached out to him a week later. Not in a let's talk way, but just asking about this product he had mentioned selling. Something low-key. I just wanted to make conversation, see where his head was at. I asked how much it cost. He told me. I said thanks and mentioned I might just get it in New York instead. He lost his mind. He started cursing me out, blowing up my phone with messages. He accused me of wasting his time, said I was leading him on, and then told me to live myself. Like what? All because I asked for a price. Blocked. Immediately. I never looked back. It took me a while to really unpack what happened that night, but here's what I know now. I wasn't overreacting. I wasn't being dramatic. My instincts were screaming at me, and for once, I listened. That situation could have ended very differently if I had stayed quiet to avoid making it awkward. We're taught to be polite, to not make a scene, but your safety is more important than someone else's comfort. It was winter, I was single, and I hadn't been on a real date in a while. He looked good in his photos, tall, dark, clean cut, with that low-effort charm that makes you think, okay, he could be a vibe. His profile said he was from England, worked in the city, no kids, never married, just out of a long-term relationship. It all sounded believable, solid enough to let him take me out. We FaceTimed through that random app, and he looked just like his pictures. That eased my mind. He said he was 5 feet 9 inches, which I appreciated because I'm also 5 feet 9 inches, and I'm not trying to tower over anybody. He had a nice accent, a chill energy. It wasn't fireworks, but it felt safe, at least safe enough to meet in public. When he finally asked me out, I told him to meet me somewhere near my house. He didn't have a car, which wasn't a deal breaker. Lots of people in the tri-state area rely on public transportation. But when he asked if I could pick him up from his place, yeah, that was a no from me. I told him he could hop on the train and meet me at the restaurant. He agreed. Cool. The night of the date, I was running late. Fashionably, of course. I texted him to let him know, and he replied, "No problem, I'm already here. I'm grabbing a drink at the bar next door." It was cold. One of those New York winter nights where the air bites your face and your ears go numb. I rushed in, expecting to see the same guy from the FaceTime call. But that's not what happened. This man, who approached me like we were long-lost lovers, was not the man in the photos. I mean, technically it was, but not really. He looked like a version of himself after a few rough years, and maybe a bar fight or two. He said he was 5 feet 9 inches, but he was definitely 5 feet 6 inches on a good day. He looked older, more tired, and very, very drunk. I froze. He grinned like we were about to have the best night of our lives. I smiled back like I wasn't already planning my escape. But I was already out, already dressed, already freezing. I figured, okay, just go to the restaurant. Eat. Survive. Leave. I didn't want to waste the night entirely. We sit down, and he immediately starts ordering more drinks. I'm talking shots, cocktails, the works. I'm sipping water and watching him spiral into drunken chaos. He's loud, talking with his hands, knocking things over. I'm trying to keep the mood light, but inside, I'm screaming. Midway through the meal, he leans in and says, "Give me a kiss." I blink. "Excuse me?" He repeats it. "Give me a kiss." I laugh awkwardly. "We just met. Let's slow down." But he doesn't let it go. He gets louder. "Why won't you kiss me? You don't like me?" Now people are looking. The waitress comes over and asks if everything's okay. I lie and say, "Yeah, all good." But it's not. Not even close. He keeps drinking. The conversation gets weirder. He starts ranting about his ex, about how people can't handle real men, about the government. I excuse myself to go to the restroom and immediately call my friend. "Girl," I whisper into the phone. "I'm on a date with a drunk lunatic. He's not who I thought he was. I need to leave." She's like, "Then go. What are you waiting for?" Before I can respond, I open the bathroom door, and he's standing right there. "What are you doing?" he slurs. "I was using the restroom," I say, trying to sound calm. "Who are you talking to?" he presses. I lie. "No one. I was leaving a voice note." He stares at me. I squeeze past him and return to the table. He follows. That's when I knew I had to make my exit. I couldn't just leave, though. I was genuinely afraid he'd follow me to my car. So I kept my cool, pretended everything was fine, smiled, nodded, let him keep ranting. Then he saw a waiter outside on a smoke break and said, "I know that guy. I'm gonna go say what's up." The moment he stepped outside, I turned to our waitress and said, "I need your help. I'm on a first date and I'm really uncomfortable." She didn't even hesitate. "We already noticed. The manager's been watching your table." I almost cried from relief. "Can you split the check?" I asked. "I just want to pay and go." She nodded. "Already on it." She brought my half of the bill. I paid. I waited until I saw him still outside, pacing, talking to the waiter. Then the chef appeared, this big guy with a kind face, and asked if I wanted him to walk me to my car. Bless that man. I said yes. They snuck me out the back door like I was escaping from a hostage situation. The chef walked me all the way to my car, stood there while I got in, and even waited for me to start the engine before waving goodbye. I blocked my date's number before I even pulled out of the parking lot. He still had time, though. He must have realized I was gone because he started blowing up my phone, calls, voicemails, texts. "Where did you go? Why did you leave me here? What did I do wrong?" I didn't respond to any of it, but a few days later, curiosity got the best of me. I called the restaurant to thank them for helping me and to ask about the waiter, the one my date claimed was part of a secret society. The manager laughed nervously. Yeah, that guy? He never came back to work. Just stopped showing up. We don't really know him. So now I'm sitting here wondering if I accidentally stumbled into some cult-adjacent drama. Maybe he was in a secret society. Maybe the waiter was too. Maybe I was 2 minutes away from being initiated into something I wanted no part of. All I know is, that was the last time I ever agreed to meet someone from a dating app without at least 3 backup plans and a location pin shared with my entire family. Online dating may work for some people, but for me, it was a disaster. A weird, chaotic, sometimes terrifying disaster filled with catfish, cults, and cocktails I didn't order. Lesson learned. I should have known from the moment I ordered that caramel macchiato that this night wasn't going to go the way I thought. I mean, it started off so normal. Too normal. I was bored, honestly. It was one of those weeks where the group chat was dry, I had nothing due for class, and I hadn't flirted with anybody in a while. So when he texted me, someone I'd known on and off for a couple of years, I figured why not? We'd always had this weird, undefined thing. Not quite friends, definitely not lovers, just orbiting each other. The occasional DM, flirty banter. A few we should hang out sometime messages that never went anywhere. But this time he followed through. He invited me to his place for a chill night. Movies, card games, casual drinks. Something low effort, low stakes. I said yes. I didn't overthink it. I even put on my, maybe I'll stay the night, maybe I won't outfit. You know the one, cute but cozy, just enough effort to suggest I care without looking like I planned to care. When I got there, I realized his loft was above a hotel. Fancy, right? Not like 5-star luxury, but definitely nicer than what I was expecting. The lobby had this little coffee station, and I was genuinely tired, so I was like, bet. I could use some caffeine. I ordered a caramel macchiato and waited. That's when the first red flag walked in, literally. He looked at me and said casually, "Oh, my ex is about to walk this way." I blinked. "You're what?" "My ex," he repeated like it was no big deal. "She lives here." "Oh," I said, still trying to keep my face neutral. "That's convenient." I didn't even have time to process it before she came strutting past us. He called out her name, Ashton. Ashton. And she just kept walking like she didn't hear a damn thing. I was sipping my macchiato like it was a front row seat to some cable drama. "She must be upset," I said, because duh. "She was cool with me until now," he replied, like it was my fault she was mad. I raised an eyebrow. "She's mad because you're here with someone else. Are y'all cool or not?" He shrugged, and I let it go. Not my business. Or at least, it shouldn't have been. 5 minutes later, coffee in hand, we headed to the elevator. And guess who we saw again? Yep. Ashton. Round 2. This time, she wasn't ignoring him. She looked pissed. He tried to speak to her again. "Ashton." And she shut it down quick. "I'm good," she snapped. Then she looked at me dead in the eye and said, "This is Cameron." I didn't even blink. She said it like she was serving me a warning. Like she was letting me know I was walking into enemy territory. I just sipped my drink. He said, "She knows about you." She said, "I could care less." Then her elevator opened, she stepped inside, and the doors closed like the final scene in a soap opera. We got in a separate elevator, and I'll admit, I was amused. I should have been concerned, but there's something about being the girl who makes the ex jealous that gives you a little ego boost. I was still sipping my coffee, minding my business, and thinking, at least this night won't be boring. We got inside his place, and I barely had time to take off my jacket before he said, "I need to go talk to her." I froze. "You what?" He was already putting his shoes back on. I need to clear the air. I'll be back in a few." And then he left. Just like that. Left me in his apartment, alone, with my macchiato and a bottle of liquor I brought myself. I sat there, stunned. I didn't want to believe it. I was trying to rationalize it. Like, maybe he really just wants to make peace. Maybe he'll be back in 5 minutes. 10 tops. 30 minutes passed. I started pacing. 45 minutes passed. Now I was heated. Not just because he left me alone, but because I had paid for that liquor. He said he would reimburse me. He even offered to. And now he's disappeared to go chase closure with his ex? Nah. I wasn't taking a financial L and an emotional one. If I was going to be disrespected, I wasn't going to pay for it too. I texted him. No response. I started doing the math in my head. Uber home would be about $20. Not terrible, but still. I was already out a bottle of liquor and a night of my time. I didn't want to add insult to injury. I debated whether I should take the liquor back with me. I mean, technically it was mine. I brought it, but I also didn't want to look petty. For about 3 minutes, I stood there holding the bottle, weighing my choices like it was a moral dilemma. Eventually I said, screw it. Took my caramel macchiato in one hand, bottle in the other, and walked the hell out of there. In the Uber, I replayed the whole night in my head. The ex, the weird energy, him just leaving me there like I was a placeholder. I didn't even get a text saying, hey, I'll be right back. Not an update. Not a sorry, this is taking longer than I thought. Nothing. By the time I got home, it had been well over an hour, and I still hadn't heard from him. I sat on my bed, bottle next to me, sipping the rest of my coffee and wondering what the hell just happened. Was I his scapegoat? Did he bring me there just to make her jealous? Was this all a ploy? I had so many questions and no answers. And honestly, I didn't even care anymore. I blocked him the next day. That was it. No confrontation. No closure. Just vibes and a very expensive night that ended with me drinking my feelings and texting my group chat like, y'all won't believe the date I just had. Because at the end of the day, it wasn't even a date. It was a lesson, a reminder, that if someone's still caught up in their ex, they're not fit to be inviting anyone over for movie night. Especially not someone who brings their own liquor and deserves better. So yeah, that's how I got ghosted in real time, face to face, while holding a caramel macchiato in a stranger's apartment. And to this day, I can't smell that drink without thinking of Ashton, elevator drama, and the night I should have just stayed home and watched Netflix by myself. I met her on Hinge. She was in law school, had tattoos, a quiet confidence, and this whole mysterious, edgy vibe. She wasn't the type I usually dated, but something about her felt magnetic. Our conversations were cool. She was articulate, smart, had good taste in music. I thought, okay, maybe this could be something. Then Mother's Day came around. I'm scrolling through Instagram, minding my business, when I see her post a huge photo dump. Lots of flowers, smiling pics, brunch, and then bam, baby. Like a full baby. Multiple pictures. No caption explaining who it was. Just baby, baby, baby. Naturally, I swipe up. Happy Mother's Day, I guess? She replies, oh my God, I'm sorry. I didn't tell you because I like to keep my personal life private. You didn't tell me. You had a child? Look, I'm not anti-kid. I'm just anti-secrets. If you're a parent, that's a whole lifestyle. That's not something you forget to mention. But I tried to be understanding. I told myself, maybe she didn't want to scare me off. I let it slide. I was already invested, and at the time, she hadn't given me a real reason to bounce. But that was just the beginning. She started telling me her family didn't like her. Again, I tried to play devil's advocate, no pun intended. I told her, maybe they just don't understand you. But then came the kicker. My mom called me the devil once. Ma'am, that's not a misunderstanding. That's not they don't get me. That's a red siren on the top of a moving ambulance. Still, I know, I kept talking to her. We'd been vibing for a couple of months at this point. Then she made plans to come visit me. She lived in Northern California. I lived in LA. She drove down, stayed the weekend. And honestly, it was cool. She was chill in person. We had a good time. Nothing crazy happened. No fights. No weird behavior. I thought maybe I'd judged her too soon. But once she left, all hell broke loose. Suddenly, she was picking fights about things that didn't even make sense. Imaginary arguments. Accusations out of nowhere. I kept telling her, I don't argue. I don't do drama. We can talk about things, but I'm not going to scream and fight. She didn't care. Boundaries meant nothing to her. So I ended it. I told her calmly, I think this is getting toxic. I want you to be happy, but I don't think this is working. That's when it got scary. Within hours, she quit her job and drove from the Bay Area to LA. What should have been a 6 to 7 hour drive. She made it in 3. She was proud of that too. Told me she set a new record. Like this was the Daytona 500 and not her completely unhinged reaction to a breakup. And here's where I messed up. I let her in. I know. I shouldn't have. But I was caught off guard. She showed up emotional, begging to talk. I thought, let me hear her out. Let's end this with some closure, calmly. I told her, you need therapy. You've got stuff you're dealing with, and that's not on me to fix. She nodded. Swore she'd go. Promised she understood. We hugged it out. She got back in her car and drove home. I thought that was the end. Nope. A few days later, she started doing the same thing, blowing up my phone, accusing me of random stuff, picking fights in the middle of the night. I finally snapped. At 3 a.m., I sent a text like, "I can't do this anymore. I need peace. Please don't contact me again." I put my phone down, went to sleep. When I woke up, I had 30+ missed calls, paragraphs, scamshots, DMs to women I barely knew. She was messaging them asking how they knew me, what our connection was. She even threatened to harm herself and me. That was when I knew it wasn't just crazy ex energy. This was dangerous. I had to contact her family, people I'd never spoken to before. I was scared. I didn't know if she was serious. I didn't know what she was capable of. I messaged her sister and explained everything. Her sister responded, "You need to run." Another family member said, "She's not well. Something is clinically wrong. We've been trying to help her for years." I blocked her on everything, changed my number, tried to vanish. But she didn't stop. A few days later, one of her relatives called me. "Hey, you live in LA, right?" "Yeah. I think she's on her way to see you." "Excuse me?" "She left hours ago." She had this look in her eyes. I don't know what she's planning. I started panicking. I called my friends. I didn't want to be home alone. Like, what was I supposed to do? Call the cops? Say, "Hey, my ex is driving 6 hours to possibly ruin my life." She showed up again. I saw her car parked outside, seat leaned back like she was undercover. I walked outside and said, "I can see you." She got out. I patted her down for weapons. Yes, I actually checked her. That's how shook I was. We sat down. Talked. Again. I calmed her down. Told her to go home. She left. Then chaos exploded in Northern California. She went home and started accusing her family of plotting against her. Her sister texted me. She punched a hole in my bedroom door. A few days later, I got a call from a blocked number. It was her uncle. From prison. He said someone gave him my number. Asked what was going on. I explained everything. Every 5 minutes, the call would cut off with, "Please insert more coins to continue this call." I told him the whole story. He sighed and said, "I gotta talk to her." That was the last straw. I completely cut ties. Changed my number again. Told my building's security to never let her in. Deleted her from my life like she never existed. And I've never looked back. That whole situation taught me something important. Sometimes people are exactly what their family says they are. If someone tells you their own mother called them the devil, believe them. If their sister says run, don't ask why. Just run. I dodged a bullet. A whole arsenal, actually. And I have no intention of ever stepping into another Hinge situation again. We'd known each other in passing for years. Facebook friends since high school. He lived in West Palm, I lived in Jacksonville. We'd flirted once or twice over the years, but nothing ever came of it. Then, fast forward to my early 20s. I'm living in Miami. He sees my WhatsApp stories because Caribbean men love WhatsApp like it's Instagram, and decides to shoot his shot. "Let me take you out," he says. "We'll do Taco Tuesday. Margaritas on me." I say yes. I mean, who's turning down tacos and tequila? Certainly not me. That was Saturday. Sunday, nothing. Monday, nothing. Tuesday rolls around, and I still haven't heard from him. I assumed, naturally, that the plans were off. But at 6 p.m., this man hits me with a FaceTime asking, "Are you getting ready?" "Getting ready for what, sir?" "You said we were doing Taco Tuesday," he replied, like he didn't ghost me for 2 days. Against my better judgment, and because I still wanted tacos, I rushed to get ready and headed out. He'd sent me a flyer for the event, which I didn't look at too closely. I saw the address, saw the words Taco Tuesday, and assumed it was a restaurant with food, drinks, and maybe a chill vibe. I didn't zoom in. I didn't read the fine print. My bad. The moment I pulled up, I knew something was wrong. The building was pulsing with red and blue strobe lights. There were people outside smoking hookah, a DJ booth visible through the window, and the bass was so loud it shook my car door. This was not a date. This was a club. I texted him, "I'm outside." "Where are you?" He said, "Come in." "Excuse me? You invited me, and now I have to go find you?" Mind you, this place had 2 entrances. I peek in the first one. It's a full bar packed. The second entrance leads into a dance floor with people already 2 drinks in and out of their seats. I walk in, scanning the room, and don't see him anywhere. I'm now standing there, fully dressed for a sit-down dinner, not a rave. Then I hear a voice on the mic. It's him. He's the DJ. This man invited me to Taco Tuesday like it was a date, but really just wanted me to come see him work. I was stunned. I sat down at a table by myself, looking around like, am I being pranked? I texted my sister, my homegirl, everybody. Y'all, he's the DJ. He invited me to his DJ set and called it a date. I pulled up the flyer he sent me, and sure enough, under Music by was his DJ name. But here's the thing, I didn't know that was his DJ name. I only knew his government name from Facebook. So while he thought he was being clear, I was completely blindsided. I sat there sipping water and doing what any rational woman would do. I started a background check. I wasn't about to sit there and get to know him while he was up there mixing WAP into Bad Bunny. So I opened up my go-to site, and let me tell you, that background check was thorough. It told me everything. Traffic tickets, court appearances, property records, child support, and that's when I saw it. He had a kid. A young kid. One he never mentioned. Clicked through another page, saw lawsuits, old addresses, and some sketchy financial stuff. At this point, I'm sitting there like a private investigator with lip gloss on. He finishes his set and finally comes over. I'm trying to act normal, but I already know too much. I didn't mention the background check, obviously, but I was definitely giving short answers. Oh cool. Yeah, that's nice. Meanwhile in my head, you have a whole baby and didn't think to mention it? Still, I stayed until the end of the night. I figured I'd come all this way, might as well see it through. We grabbed food after, talked a bit, and it wasn't terrible. I decided, foolishly, to give him another chance. Mistake number 1. Again. A few days later, he invites me to his house. Chill night. Movies and wine. I say okay, and tell him I'll let him know when I'm on the way. I text him, I'm leaving now. 10 minutes later, I get a voice note. Not a text, a voice note. He says, hey, I just got a call from this promoter. They need me to come DJ real quick. So when you get here, I'm just gonna hop in the car with you and head to the club. Wait. What? So you knew you were booked to DJ and waited until I was literally en route to tell me? And I'm supposed to drive you to the gig now? Absolutely not. I texted back, I'm not going to a party dressed like this. And I'm not sitting in your house while you're out working. He replies, come inside, take my key, and just wait for me there. Sir, you want me to sit in your apartment alone like some side character with no lines? What if your actual girlfriend shows up? No. I told him, I'm going home. I just drove over an hour for nothing. He tried to flip it like I was being dramatic. So can I come to you instead? No, Cameron. You cannot. I blocked him that night. Again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, and I'm the Wi-Fi password at your DJ booth. And that's how I ended up doing 2 background checks, attending 1 surprise DJ gig, and wasting multiple gallons of gas on a man who didn't know the difference between a date and a promo event. Dating in your 20s is wild. But dating a DJ? That's a whole different genre of chaos. Let me tell you about the time a man begged for years to take me on a date, and when I finally agreed, I ended up paying for everything. This one still makes my group chat cackle, but at the time, I was heated. So this guy had been in my DMs for at least 2 years. Every post, every story, he was there. Hard eyes, when we linking? Just give me one chance, all of it. I always brushed it off. Not because he was ugly, but because he wasn't my type. Like at all. I like my men dark and smooth like 95% cocoa. He was not that. He was yellow like me. And not just yellow, smiley, gummy, and overly eager. I'm sorry, but the man had 90% gums, 10% teeth. One smile, and I was already looking for the exit. But one day I thought, you know what? Let me give this man a chance. He's been consistent, respectful, and maybe I'm being too picky. Mistake number 1. I agreed to go out with him, and we planned a 2-part day. Coney Island first, then dinner after. Now, if you're from New York, you already know people have opinions about Coney Island. But I don't care. I love amusement parks, and after a certain hour, it's 21 plus, so it turns into a fun, grown vibe. Plus, I wanted to go on rides drunk, respectfully. He pulls up in a brand new BMW, white with red interior. He'd been flexing it on Facebook like it was his child. And I'm not gonna lie, the car was nice. I wasn't impressed, but I clocked it. I live in Manhattan, and he lives in Brooklyn, so he had to drive to get me, and then drive us all the way back to Coney Island. We're already talking almost 1.5 hours of driving. I figured, okay, maybe he's serious about this. Mistake number 2. We get to Coney Island and immediately run into problem number 1, parking. Now, anybody with common sense knows you don't go to Coney Island expecting to find free parking. You pay the $20, park, and enjoy your day. But no, this man starts circling the block like he's on a mission from God. I'm sitting there like, just pay for the lot, it's not that deep. He says, I'm not paying $20 to park for a couple hours. Sir, you're driving a 2020 BMW with red leather seats, and you're crying over a $20 parking fee? We drive around for 30 minutes. Then 45. At one point, we see a sign that says $10 for 4 hours. I'm like, let's just do that. He says, nah, I'm not paying $10 either. At this point, I'm ready to walk home. Finally, I'm like, forget it. Let's just go eat. I'm not even in the mood anymore. He says, okay, where you want to go? I pick a cute little restaurant nearby. Nothing fancy, just a nice spot with good vibes. We sit down, order drinks, order food. I keep it simple. 1 drink, 1 appetizer, 1 entree. He orders 2 drinks, 2 appetizers, no entree. I clock it, but I don't say anything. The bill comes. It's $100.86, including gratuity. Honestly, that's a steal in New York. Then this man has the audacity to pull out his phone. Not to pay. Not to Venmo. Nope. He pulls out his calculator app. I'm watching him do math in real time. He's calculating how much he owes based on his 2 appetizers and 2 drinks versus my entree and drink. Like we're in a group project and everyone's splitting up their contributions. I couldn't believe it. I was embarrassed. There were 2 guys at the next table watching us. The waiter was standing there awkwardly. I just pulled my debit card out of my phone case and handed it to the waiter. Put the whole thing on my card. His eyes lit up like I just proposed to him. You gonna do that for me? That's so sweet. Sir, shut up. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it to end this nightmare. I texted my group chat under the table. Y'all, I just paid for this whole date. This man really made me split the bill and then didn't even offer to cover the tip. We leave the restaurant and I'm walking ahead of him. He doesn't even open the car door for me. I get in and slam it behind me. Then, as if the night hasn't already been enough of a disaster, he looks over and says, "Can I ask you something?" My stomach dropped. "Sure." He says, "When you go on dates, do you usually chip in for gas money?" I blinked. "You're asking me for gas money? After I just paid for dinner?" He says, "Well, you live in Manhattan, and I had to drive all the way there and back." "Sir, you asked me on a date. You knew where I lived. You knew the plan. And now you want reimbursement like this was a business transaction?" I was done. We get to my block, and he starts circling like he's trying to spend more time with me. I'm silent. Then he says, "So, I was thinking I could park and come upstairs. We could chill." "Chill where?" "In the apartment I pay rent in. After I paid for your food, and you asked me for gas money?" "Absolutely not." I said, "I'm good. Thanks for the night." He looked confused, like he couldn't understand why I wasn't swooning. I got out of the car and never looked back. Blocked. Deleted. Forgotten. And to this day, I still remember the exact number on that bill. $100.86. $100.86 for a date with a man who didn't believe in parking lots, didn't believe in tipping, and thought gas money was a romantic gesture. Never again. I thought I was going on a romantic drive. You know, second date energy, windows down, music up, the kind of night where you lean back in the passenger seat and think, maybe this could go somewhere. And technically it did go somewhere. Right up to the edge of a cliff. But let me back up. We'd gone on our first date a week before. It was chill. Nothing dramatic. He was cute in that put-together but not trying too hard kind of way. Tall, smelled good, knew how to hold a conversation. He didn't give me butterflies, but he didn't give me red flags either. And sometimes, that's enough to get you to a second date. He hit me up a few days later. "Want to go for a drive tonight? I know a spot." Now that phrase, "I know a spot," should have sent me running, because every terrible story I've ever told starts with a man knowing a spot. But I was in a good mood. I said yes. Threw on something cute but casual. A hoodie, leggings, lip gloss. Just enough to say, "I'm here but not pressed." He picks me up right around sunset. The sky is giving soft pinks and blues, that pre-nightfall glow that makes everything feel cinematic. His car is clean, music low, windows cracked just enough for a breeze. And for the first 30 minutes, it's giving vibes. We're talking, laughing, even holding hands across the center console. He compliments my laugh. I compliment his playlist. It's nice. Too nice. We start heading out of the city. I'm not paying too much attention at first. I figure he's taking me to some overlook, maybe a beach, something scenic. He says, it's a really beautiful view. I come here when I want to think. Okay, poetic. But the roads start to change. Less streetlights. Fewer cars. Then no cars. Just winding roads, tight curves, and absolute silence outside the car. I glance at him. He's still smiling. Still chatting like nothing's weird. But now I'm gripping the door handle a little tighter. The road narrows. It starts to incline. Trees disappear, replaced by rocky edges and steep drop-offs. I realize we're on a mountain road. A cliffside road. I ask, where exactly are we going? He says, just wait. You'll love it. That's when he starts driving faster. I'm not talking a little over the limit fast. I'm talking tires screeching, curves drifting fast. He speeds up as the road gets sharper. I'm pressed against the door, my breath caught in my throat, and all I can think is, he's going to kill me. But I don't say anything yet. I'm frozen. Paralyzed. I want to believe this is still okay. That he's just being reckless, not malicious. Then I see it. Up ahead, the road just ends. It literally cuts off into a wide gravel patch, and beyond that, nothing but fog, stars, and a vertical drop into darkness. He doesn't slow down. I scream, "What are you doing?" He slams the brakes at the last possible second. The car skids across the gravel, stopping just a few feet from the edge. My heart is pounding so loud I can't hear anything else. I'm shaking, hands numb. I think I might throw up. And this man is laughing, like full belly-deep laughter, like he just pulled off the prank of the century. He looks at me and says, "Yo, that was fun, right? You should have seen your face." I don't respond. I can't. I'm still trying to figure out if I just imagined all of that. If maybe I'm overreacting. But no. I look out the window and see the cliff. The actual cliff. We're parked at the edge of it. One wrong move, and we would have gone airborne. He leans back in his seat, still grinning. I used to do that with my boys all the time. It's just for the thrill. You were safe the whole time. Safe? Oh, so now I'm supposed to be grateful? I finally find my voice. Take me home. He blinks. Wait, you're mad. I don't answer. I'm already texting my location to my best friend. Meanwhile, he's still trying to make jokes. It's not that deep. Come on, live a little. I say it again. Slower. Take me home. He sighs, mutters something under his breath, and finally turns the car around. The drive back is silent. I'm staring out the window, replaying the moment over and over. The way he sped up. The way he smiled through it. The way he thought scaring me half to death was a bonding experience. And the worst part, for a second, I almost laughed with him. Because that's what we're conditioned to do, right? Laugh it off. Don't make it awkward. Don't upset the man who literally just showed you he can play with your life like it's a game. By the time we get back to the city, I already know I'm never speaking to him again. I get out of the car, don't say goodbye, don't look back. I walk straight into my building, go upstairs, and sit on my bed in silence for 10 minutes. Then I block him. I tell my friends, and they're horrified. One of them says, that could have turned into a crime scene. Another says he's a psycho. And honestly, they're right. I look back on it now, and realize how close I came to something that could have ended so differently. All because I trusted someone who thought fear was funny, who thought playing chicken with a cliff was a cute second date idea. So yeah, I survived. But it changed the way I date. Now, I ask questions. I don't get in cars with men I barely know. I don't go to spots that aren't on Google Maps. And I never, ever ignore my gut.